Hello. I hope you're having a really good day. Today we are going to make a Gameweek 22 preview. We're going to go through all of the 10 fixtures and make assumptions about the starting lineups, see the form in the teams they are, make a favorite from the fixture, and all of those similar stuff. I hope you enjoy such type of content. If you do, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave down a comment with your thoughts. If you have anything to add or to ask, I'm answering everything. And now let's dive into the first fixture. It's Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal. Let's first look at the form. So Arsenal is 2 wins, 2 losses and 1 draw, but the latest result is a win. It was a home fixture against Palace 5-0, so they are on the rise. On the other hand, Forest latest fixture is a loss against Brentford. It was the return of Ivan Toney, but before that it was 2 wins against Manchester United and Newcastle. The thing that we have to say here is that Forest are conceding a lot, so basically every fixture they're conceding in the last 5. Arsenal are scoring okay number of goals if we take it on average, but most of the goals are from the last fixture, so their attack maybe is not the best to invest more than one player. Only one is enough. If we go through the sides and let's say through Arsenal, do we have someone injured? Yeah, we have a knock for Gabriel, but we need to hear information. By the looks of it, he has been training, and with the 10 days rest that he had, he will be back into contention for Gameweek 22. Tomiyasu is away on international duty, so he isn't returning, and Timber is still injured in defense. In midfield, there was a muscle injury for Rice, as you can see, but there is a big chance that he's playing. Fabio Vieira got injured. We have to see if he is going to start. Partey and Teunini are still injured, and no one else is injured here. And looking at the predicted lineup, thanks to Fantasy Football Scout, it's the same old lineup. Raya in goal, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Zinchenko, Rice, Odegaard, Havertz, Saka, Jesus, Martinelli. As you can see, 75% for Rice and Magalhaes. I believe those percentages are enough. Looking at the Forest lineup and how they're looking, they have way more troubles in their lineup, like Boli is away on international duty, Aina is away, Aurier is away, Niakate is away, Nuno Tavares cannot play against Arsenal, Elanga is still injured, so 50% only chance to be playing. Gibbs White should be back from injury, so that's a good stuff for Nottingham Forest. Sangare is injured, Koyate is on no, both of them are on international duty. Awoni and Turigi are injured. And if we go to the Forest predicted lineup, it's Turner in goal, Montiel, Omobamadile, sorry if I butchered that name, Murillo and Tufolo. In defense, that defense screams conceding goals. So yeah, I may consider Arsenal attackers as a good thing to invest in. Mangala, the new Nicola Dominguez, Gibbs White, and twice Nicolas Dominguez. I don't know what's happening here, but this is not right. And Wood up front, sorry for that misinformation here. But if I have to be honest, I believe that Arsenal are going to score a lot of goals. And if we look at the points that are midfielders gaining, as you can see, Saka is on the top, and I believe it's time for Saka to shine. So if I would pick an attacker from Arsenal, it would be Saka. If I want to go in defense for Arsenal, I would pick Gabriel because he's just the least expensive, so the cheapest starting defender in the lineup. When Tomiyasu returns, maybe Tomiyasu becomes an option, but for now Gabriel is the best shout out. Shout out to Odegaard as well. He hasn't returned in a while, but he's the captain, so his minutes are for sure there. Rice, I wouldn't invest there. Martinelli, Havertz and Trossard as well. There is too much interchanging in the team, so I am not investing there. And Nketiah and Gabriel Jesus, in my opinion, I will be steering away from them. Next, we go to Fulham and Everton. So Fulham, last 5 matches, they have 1 victory against Arsenal, 2-1, and 4 losses. Basically, they're conceding every game. So as a Leno owner, that is worrying, but I'm not selling my goalkeeper. On the other hand, Everton are after 3 losses and 1 draw. So the draw was against Villa and it was a clean sheet. Let's see if we have anything else to look at here. So we go to Fulham. They played a lot of cup fixtures. Leno is their starting goalkeeper. No worries there. Bassi and Bao Toure are on international duties. The starting defensive partnership will be Tosin and Diop, and I believe that Tosin played a really good game against Liverpool in the Carabao. Then going into the midfield, Iwobi is on international duty. Wilson is injured, shoulder injury against Newcastle. Adama is with a hamstring injury, and Ghibli Diaz is with hamstring injury. I didn't know that this guy played at all. No worries in attacking perspective. Going to their lineup, it's going to be Leno, Castane, Tosin, Diop, Robinson. So it's either Tete or Castan. Polinia and Kearney, yeah, most probably. De Cordova, Reed, Pereira, Willian, and Raul Jimenez. I believe that is going to be their starting lineup. We can see Everton's up high, but let's go through the absentees from Everton. So Pickford would return in goal. Coleman is absentee. 25% chance to be playing Doucouré. I don't know what happened with him. Like, he played in Gameweek 21 and now he is away with another injury. Idrissa Gana Gueye is on international duty. Andre Gomez is injured and Dele Alli is still injured. Up front they have no issues. The team is most probably going to be Pickford, Patterson, Tarkovsky, Brentwaite and Mikulenko in defense. Harrison and Danjuma most likely on the wings. Onana and Garner in midfield. McNeil and Calvert-Lewin up front. Maybe Beto and Calvert-Lewin can be up front and Danjuma will be on the bench, but that's not for sure. For sure out are Ali, Doucouré and Gueye. Coleman and Andre Gomez, there is a slight chance, but I highly doubt that they will be going in. If I have to invest in someone, maybe Raul Jimenez is the only guy from Fulham that I'm interested in right now, and he looks like an okay option. But on the other hand, I wouldn't be investing in their defenders right now because they're conceding a lot of goals. From Everton's perspective, most probably the only player that I may be interested at some point is Brentwaite, just because he's 4.1 and he's nailed as it gets. Yeah, he's not getting as many attacking returns as Mikulenko or Tarkovsky, but those attacking returns are highly unpredictable. So yeah, Brentwaite for the clean sheet there. I believe that this fixture is going to be a draw. I'm hoping for 0-0 so I can get the Leno clean sheet bonus finally, or maybe a victory for Fulham because they deserve it, but for now I don't see it as a good fixture to invest in. Wootton Brighton on the other hand, going to see the Wootton form, like 2 losses, 1 draw and 2 victories. Even in the victories, no, they kept a clean sheet here, they conceded here, and in the draw they conceded, so they are highly conceding defense. On the other hand, Brighton 4 matches in a row without a loss, and I believe they have 2 clean sheets in a row, yes. And before that they scored several goals. Here the clean sheets were the highlight, so let's see the Brighton players and what's the situation with absentees. In goal they do not have any issues. Veltman is with a knee injury, but he is soon to be back. The rest of the defense is finally injury free. That speaks volumes. As you can see, Estupinian is their top defender, even though he had missed like 10 game weeks for action, but yeah, they weren't good in defense. On the other hand, in midfield they have international duty for Mitoma, but he is injured. Adingra international duty. March is injured. Ansu Fati is injured, but is looking like soon to be back into the lineup, and Sisu is injured. And up front they do not have any issues. Going into the Brighton lineup, I believe that is going to be their lineup most probably. Milner can go and they can play Van Hecke, Dunk and Webster, or Estupinian is going to be a left center back and Milner is going to play like he used to do in the past 2 fixtures. João Pedro is the guy in form here, so I will be taking a look at him for sure. Going to the Luton's perspective, and we see the players with injuries and etc. Kabore is international duty. Walker, the heart issue, it's too bad for him. Andersen is injured. Nakamba is on with an injury, and the rest of the squad is fit. The best guy here, in my opinion, is Doughty. Look at him, 63 points compared to 28 to Mengi. Oh my god, that's really good. Up front, Adebayo is performing well, but Morris is with more goals and more points, but that's because he was the starter at the start. Looking at their lineup right here, yeah, I believe that Mengi, Osho and Bell will be in defense, Doughty and Togbeni on the wing-back positions, as Kabore is on international duty, Barkley and Wukonga in the midfield department, Townsend and Adebayo and Brown are going to be up front. From investments perspective from Wooten, I would only go to Doughty, but that's a highly if, but let's say I am not too interested in him. Brighton, in my opinion, are going to score several goals, and a player such as Joao Pedro is interesting me for sure. He's on penalties, he's scoring a lot of goals outside of the Prem, so it's time for him to move the form back into the Prem, and for 5.5 he is so good. In midfield, Gross is an interesting option, but right now he's playing like a distributing ball midfielder, so I'm not interested in him. Estupinian, in my opinion, the best investment for Brighton's perspective. 2 clean sheets in a row, a very good performance. 2 clean sheets and a goal, yeah, 3 games in a row he's with a return. Against Luton, I believe he's returning once again. I believe here Brighton are scoring a lot of goals. At the end of the video, we are going to just share my predictions for the upcoming fixtures, but yeah, right now I believe Brightons are scoring way more. So Palace, Sheffield, let's go and see. Palace, not too good, only 1 victory in 5 games. It was against Brentford. They're conceding a lot of goals every game. On the other perspective, Sheffield is the worst team right now in the Prem, in the worst form. Maybe after Everton at the minute, or after Newcastle basically. But yeah, they are in a pretty bad run of form. Only 2 points from 5 fixtures, and they are conceding left, right and center. So going into the Crystal Palace players, they have a lot of injuries if I can remember correctly. Ward is one of the injured guys and Holding is the other. So yeah, in defense they're only that, but in midfield, Cheikh Doucouré, that's the biggest miss in their lineup in my opinion. And with such a good defensive mid, his absence is seen for sure. Ulize is out, we don't know for how long, and Ayew, he's back from international duty, but is he playing, is he not? We have to see. Going to their starting lineup, it's Henderson, Klein, Anderson, Gay, Mitchell, a pretty solid backline. Maybe there is a shout out for Tompkins to come in, but that's a big maybe. Richards and Lerma in midfield, Schlupp, Eze, Ayew if he's back, and Mateta front. Going into Sheffield's perspective, we go here to Sheffield. They do not have any issues in the goalkeepers department, but Baldock is injured up until 10th, so he's soon to be back. Basham is out, Love is out, and Egan is out with a known return day. Tom Davis is the only one from midfield, and Brewster is suspended because of a stupid red card. I believe that where is Diaz? Tom Davis, Fleck, where is... Okay, we have another page. So this is another guy that's ill, obviously. So Hammer, McCarthy, Brooks, Osborne, Slimani, Brenton. This is the guy that has just joined, and he's in a pretty good form, so he's the only one that's interested, that I'm interested in. So it's McBurney, Brenton, McCarthy, Hammer, Souza, Brooks, Trusty, Robinson, Ahmedovich, Bogle, and Fetheringham. Archer, too bad for me, but he is now not a nailed player. Maybe against Crystal Palace he will play, because he isn't playing against the weaker sides. He is playing against the weaker sides, and he's not playing against the better oppositions. So yeah, there is a slight chance that he joins the lineup. But yeah, I wouldn't bet on that. The only guy that I would be investing from Sheffield's perspective is maybe Breton, but that's a big if. The other guy is McCarthy, because he's playing an attacking football and he's so cheap. In defense, I'm not interested. For Crystal Palace, I didn't mention, but the Gay maybe is the only investment for me that I will be looking in defense, because he's cheaper and nailed. And up front, I will be looking at Eze's performance, because I prefer Tulize, but he's now out. So yeah, Here the favorites in my opinion are Crystal Palace, and for me they are going to take that game comfortably. Next up is one of the better fixtures this week. It's Villa against Newcastle. Newcastle are the worst team in the Prem right now, considering form. They are conceding a lot of goals. The last victory was against Fulham, but I expect them to start fighting back because they need the points. On the other hand, Aston Villa at home, they have only dropped points. It was pretty soon when they dropped them. It was against Sheffield at home, but apart from that, they are winning pretty comfortably. I'm not investing in their defenders, but their attack is looking spicy. Let's go to Aston Villa and see. So they have issues in defense. Pau Torres and Dini are out, Minks as well. In midfield, it's Jacob Ramsey and Buendia who are out, and Brendan Traore is on international duty. Up front, they have an injury issue as well. It's Duran who is out. Then Donker has joined Napoli, so he isn't playing for sure. So if you own him or you want to buy him, just don't. Looking at their predicted lineup, I believe it's going to be Martinez, Konza, Carlos, Lenglet, and Moreno. I believe the backline picks itself. Maybe Matt Cash can challenge Konza, but by the looks of it, Emery just believes in Konza. Bailey, Kamara, Douglas Luiz, McGinn in midfield. Yeah, that seems alright. I believe that Diaby is going to play against Newcastle, but let's not bet against the predicted lineups. And Watkins up front for sure, because they do not have another striking option. On the Newcastle's perspective, they are looking far better right now with the injuries. Yeah, I lied here, sorry. Pope is out. So yeah, Trippier, there is an injury issue with him. He left the game against Fulham at the end with slight injury, so we have to see how he's performing. So maybe Livramento is going there. Lascelles, I'm not investing. With Sharp, Burn and Botman back into the lineup, I don't see Lascelles breaking into the lineup. Matt Target's still injured. Almiron, there is a newness with him, so he's most probably playing. Wellington is out. Anderson is out with a back injury. Barnes isn't still recovered. Tonali is out and Willock is out. Up front, Callum Wilson is out as well. A lot of players are out. Looking at their potential lineup right here, it's Dubravka. I believe it's going to be Livramento, Sharp, Botman, Burn, Longstaff, Guimaraes and Miley. I believe the midfield picks itself. Almiron, Isaac and Gordon. There is a good thing that Jacob Murphy returned against Fulham in the FA Cup fixture and he played pretty alright. If I would be investing in Newcastle's lineup, I would most probably consider Dan Burn, because he's nailed on the left back position and he's the cheapest and he poses a really good threat from set pieces. In midfield it's Gordon and in attack Isaac. From Aston Villa's perspective, I wouldn't invest in their defense because they're pretty leaky and they're not contributing to a lot of their goals as I would like to. Maybe Alex Moreno, but with Dine coming back, I'm not interested in anyone from Villa here. In midfield, Douglas Luiz for me is the better option because he's cheap and he's ever there and he's on penalties, so even I own him. So if you consider a midfielder from Villa, consider Douglas Luiz as a good option. Another good option is Bailey because he looks to be ahead of Diaby. Up front, Watkins is always a great option. 121 points speaks from themselves, and the fixture against Newcastle, who are having troubles in defense, can pose a really good picture to Watkins to come back in form. I expect Villa to win here, but I expect a lot of goals. Next up is City Burnley, like the opposite places in the board. Second team and second to last team, like they are in a pretty good form, the best form in the league right now, maybe after Chelsea. No, they are even in better form than Chelsea because they have won 3-4 and only drew once. So yeah, City are back to their best. Burnley on the other hand are not, and they last defeated Fulham, and from then on they conceded goals. So I would highly recommend you to invest in a City player. Let's see how the City players are looking. Ederson is back into contention. John Stones is back. Akanji isn't, so there is an issue with him. Everyone in midfield is fit, so it's interesting to see how they line up. And we still have a flag on Erling Haaland. Most probably, if I do not own him right now, I wouldn't buy him because he hasn't seen much fitness. If Guardiola confirms that he's starting, I would go for him, or I am going to roll a transfer for just to have him next week when they play, I believe it was Brentford, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Brentford, with a lot of days to rest, but we'll talk about that in a later video. Looking at the predicted lineup for Manchester City, it's Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Ake, Gvardiol. Yes, that's the lineup right now. In defense, Kovacic, Rodri, Silva, Foden, Doku, Alvarez seems reasonable. Maybe KDB can start, but I'm considering him as a sub option right now. I wouldn't invest immediately in him, but maybe later on in a bit. On Burnley's perspective, I believe they had several issues last week. Let's see how they are. Yeah, they still have them. Charlie Taylor, Bear is not here yet, and the Lacroix is with a knock. In midfield is Kuleshu, who is with an injury, and up front they are alright. Yeah, here nothing to look at. Looking at the Burnley's team, I wouldn't invest in them, but Vitinho, Alderhill are the wingbacks, O'Shea, Ekdal, and Trafford line up the triangle in defense, Birch and Brownhill in midfield, Goodmanson, Amdouani, who is the best player in my opinion in their side, and Odubert, who is the maybe equal best player, and Rodriguez just make the lineup. I would highly recommend you to invest in City players. If you are not sure that Haaland is coming in and if you don't own anyone from City, go for Foden. If you own Foden and Alvarez, stay with them for now. They are not a minute's risk at the minute. Maybe they will become in game week 23, but for now they are alright. And for me, their best defender right now it's Walker. He is playing really well. He is making some assists, and he has played basically every minute of the Prem, apart from 23 minutes, which is nothing. But yeah, in defensive investments, the Walker defensive investments, the best one. In midfield is Foden, second is KDB, of course. And here, if you own Alvarez, keep him. If you unless you hear that Haaland is starting. If you don't own anyone from that team, don't buy anyone. Just wait for news. I will be deadline streaming, so I will come back with a review of the players for sure. But yeah, I would highly recommend to invest in City players. Next up, going to Spurs and Brentford. Like Spurs, 3 wins, 1 loss against Brighton and a draw against Manchester United, but they are scoring goals. They're conceding, so that's a little bit worrying, but for now they are scoring for fun. On the other hand, Brentford, they picked up a win. They were the worst side in the Prem before that game, but with Ivan Toney back, they pose an even greater threat. Going into Spurs lineup, we have some good news there. In defense, the only issue is Sessegnon at the minute. In midfield, Son is still absent, Sarr, Lo Celso, Bissouma and Solomon are still absent, and Vélez is absent. But the only guy that I'm worrying, no, several guys are Sarr, Bissouma and Son, who make their best midfield pairing. But the great news here are that Maddison is back. That poses a risk to everyone's minutes at the minute. But maybe from game week 23 onwards, I would consider him. In defense, for now, Pedro Porro is still a good option, but in some weeks' time, I believe that he's going to become far less appealing. But for now, for game week 22, if you own him, don't sell him. If you don't own, don't buy him. At least in my opinion, you will be maybe disappointed at his returns, because when Maddison is back into the lineup, he is going to be a starting player on the set pieces. Looking at the Spurs lineup, it's rumored that Maddison is going to start. We have to see, but Werner, Richarlison, Johnson, Kulusevski, Bentancur, Maddison, Udogi, Van de Ven, Romero, Porro, Vicario. Yes, that's the lineup that I predict is going to occur, but when Son returns, when Bissouma and Sarr returns, I'm going to be pretty interested to see if Brennan Johnson, Richarlison, Werner don't start sharing some minutes and they become issues, but for now they're alright. On Brentford's perspective, they are having a lot of issues. Regulian cannot play against Spurs. Aaron Hickey is injured, Henry is injured, Kim Joo-so is on international duty, but he isn't being picked, and Bumu is injured. Norgard has a slight problem. Golus injured. Tunieka is on international duty. No, both of them are on international duty. Shade is out, and Wisa is on international duty, so they have a lot of issues. Their predicted lineup looks like that. Pleken, Collins, Pinnock, and me makes up the defense. Lewis Potter and Troy Swaff on the wingbacks position. Jensen, Jalnet, and Norgard in midfield, and Maupe and Tony. From who to buy in FPL, I would highly consider from Brentford only Ivan Toney. At the minute, he is looking alright. He is on penalties, he is on set pieces, so he poses a great threat to any defense. From Spurs perspective, as already mentioned, I would consider maybe not buying anyone this week. If you own players from Spurs, keep them. Like Richarlison and Pedro Porro, in my opinion, are still going to play. But from next week onwards, if Son returns soon enough, like maybe Richarlison minutes are at risk, maybe Werner minutes. We don't know for sure. So yeah. Just wait and see for Spurs. Going to the most interesting fixture, in my opinion, it's Liverpool-Chelsea. Liverpool at the top of the league, 3 wins in a row and 2 draws before that. Chelsea, the second best team on form, like 4 wins and 1 loss against Wolverhampton. They are conceding goals, Chelsea. They are not too solid, especially away from home, and that game is away from home for Chelsea. It's in Anfield, yeah, in Anfield, so it's going to be tough for them. Looking at the Liverpool's team, we have some good news. Trent returned today in the FA Cup fixture. Tsimikas is starting a slight run, and Matip is out. In goal, there are no issues. Salah is injured, so we don't know when he's returning. Endo is on international duty. Dok, Bashchetic, and Thiago are still injured. Darwin and Gakpo make up the lineup, and they are all right. On Chelsea's, let's look at Liverpool's predicted lineup and see if I agree. Alisson, Arnold, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, yes. Curtis Jones, McAllister, Szoboszlai, yes. Nunes, Jota, Diaz, yes. That's what I believe is going to be the lineup against Chelsea. A pretty solid draft. Going into Chelsea's team, Sanchez is still out, but he is expected to be back pretty soon. Gusto had a slight issue, but for me he is playing. Cucurella, Rich James, Chalobah, and Fofana are still out. In midfield, Guchuku and Tuavi are out. In attack, Jackson and Nkunku are out. Looking at the Chelsea lineup, Petrovic, Disasi, Silva, Colwill, Chilwell, yes, that's what I expect. Maybe Colwill left back, Thiago Silva and Disasi center back positions, and Gusto on the right. We have C, Caicedo, Fernandes, Callagher, Sterling, Broja, Palmer. Yes, that's the lineup, maybe apart from Chilwell to Gusto rotation. From Chelsea's perspective, I would highly recommend, if you don't own Palmer still, just buy him. He's on penalties and he is integral to their style of play. In defense, I wouldn't go to anyone because I'm not sure who is playing. From Liverpool's perspective, if I were you and I do not still own Trent, I would buy Trent because he's back and he will be back to his best. In midfield, Diogo Jota for me is a pretty important part of Liverpool's attack right now. So if you're looking for a Liverpool attacker, go for Jota, and if you have some space for Darwin, maybe go for him, but I would prefer Diogo Jota as he tends to score basically from any position. This game is going to be tough. I expect a 1-1 draw as always. Going into West Ham and Bournemouth's fixture, West Ham 3 wins and after that 2 draws, but they were okay draws to say. And Bournemouth 3 wins and then 2 losses. I expect to be a high scoring game, so I wouldn't invest in any one of their defenders. Maybe only Areola is an exception, but if you don't own Areola, don't buy him right now. Sufao is suspended, Aguet is on international duty, so that's the issues in their defense. For me, Kudus is back in the lineup, Paqueta is still injured, and Benrahma is suspended. Antonio is with an injury, so he's most probably not coming in. Looking at the West Ham lineup, it's going to be Areola, Ben Johnson, Mavropanos, Zuma, and Emerson. Yeah, I believe that's the lineup. In defense, Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, Soucek. In midfield, for now, Kudus, Bowen. Yeah, I believe that's how they are going to look. Most probably there is a slight chance for Danny Ings to come on instead of Fornals, but that's a big if. On the other hand, if I would invest in someone from their team, it's going to be either Bowen or Kudus. Kudus looks like a better pick right now because he's way cheaper, 8.1 compared to 6.8, and before the international duty he picked a lot of points. But Bowen has been more of a central role, and we have to see now when Kudus is back how they are going to perform. Ward-Prowse is a great shout out because he's on penalties and he's on every set piece that the Ward can the West Ham team can produce, of course. From midfield and defensive perspective, the only player that interests me is Areola. Going for Bournemouth, they have some issues in defense. Smith, Aarons, Hill and Fredericks are out. In midfield, Dango and Adams. Up front, everyone is back, considering Semenyo is back from international duty. Looking at the possible Bournemouth lineup is going to be Neto, Cook, Zabrani, Senis and Kelly. Yes, Senis is back from suspension. Christy Scott, Sinistera, Kluivert, Tavernier, Suanke. I expect Alex Scott to start playing some minutes because he has been really good of a player. If I would invest someone, it's going to be Solanke, but there are some better strikers at the minute for me. Watkins, João Pedro, Tony, they are far better options than Solanke, but it's up to you if you want to invest. The most interesting player for me again for Bournemouth is Alex Scott. I enjoy him pretty much, but he is a rotation risk for sure. In defense, I am not investing in anyone. I believe that it's going to be a high scoring game, something like 2-3 to Bournemouth, something like that. And the last fixture is Wolves against Manchester United. Looking at the teams, Wolves 3 wins in a row and then a draw, so they're performing really well, and their defense is looking alright. Yeah, they've conceded some goals, but they're pretty solid defensively. And Manchester United, another team in an okay form. They beat the 4th tier side in the FA Cup fixture today, and they're through to the 5th round. Wolves are through as well, so Wolves, Liverpool and United are through. Considering their players going to the Wolves lineup, sorry, not West Ham, Wolves. Yes, they have several issues in defense, but the players are not playing. Hichan is still absent, but other than that, everyone is present apart from Boubacar, but I don't see him as such a big issue. Neto, he is back and he scored a goal in the FA Cup. Mateus Cunha is playing really well. Dawson is a great option in defense as well as Kilman. Looking at the possible lineup, for me is going to be Pedro, Sarabia, Cunha. Cunha is on the left, which is a little bit worrying. I have to see where he's going to play when Hichan returns. That's a big issue to consider, but for now there isn't an issue. Semedo and Taint Nuri, who is back from international duty, Doyle, Lemina, Kilman, Dawson, Tochi, Joseza. Yeah, pretty alright lineup. Going into Manchester United's lineup, it's Onana who is going to be back from international duty as Cameroon were kicked out of the AFCON. Lindelof is still not back and Mawase is still not back. He hasn't played a minute this season. Okay, I didn't know that. In midfield, Rashford was out with an illness. Amrabat is still in international duty and Mason Mount is still injured. Martial is out, and on the second page, yeah, it's no one too interesting. Looking at the Manchester United possible lineup, I believe it's going to be Onana in goal. Dao, Varane, Martinez, Shaw, most probably, Maino and Casemiro here. Garnacho, Bruno, Rashford, Højlund. If Rashford is still ill, it's going to be Anthony, but other than that, I believe that's going to be their lineup. For me, it's going to be a win for Wolves because Wolves are the better side, but we have to see. If I would invest someone from Manchester United, personally, I wouldn't invest. The only player that interests me is Garnacho because he has been playing alright. On the other hand, from Wolves' perspective, I would consider if I need a defensive reinforcement, Dawson for sure, and Pedro Neto and Mateus Cunha from their lineup. Now, let's see what my predictions are for the upcoming week. For me here, the winning side, let's put it, okay, I will make that a little bit smaller, make that black. Here what's that? What the? Okay, I clicked the wrong. Okay, that's better. So here for me is Arsenal, here is a draw, here is Brighton, here is Palace, here is Villa, here is City, here is Spurs, here is a draw, here, oh shit. Okay, yes, here is a Bournemouth win and here is a Wolves win. Those are my predictions to say. Yeah, it's a little bit controversial with the draw with Liverpool City, as I'm a Liverpool fan, but I believe a draw is coming. I believe United are losing away to Wolves, and let's revisit them later on in the week. Taking a look at my team for now, nothing too worrying. We're going to see some press conferences on Monday, and we're going to have some data that we can input in, like Villa, Newcastle, Palace, Sheffield, Brighton news, Arsenal news. We will have a lot of news because they play on Tuesday, and on Monday the press conferences are going to appear, so we will have some team news next time you see me with a video. I'm going to be doing a deadline stream, so stay tuned for that as well. And yeah, I believe that video was pretty helpful for me, at least to see who is injured, who is not, how the teams are supposed to be lined up. So yeah, I have the predicted lineups here. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe, like, comment down, but for now guys, I'll be heading out. Bye.